episode, I just want to give a disclaimer. This is not meant for little ears. If your children are around, don't listen to this episode. Put on your headphones. Don't listen with your children. Okay, here we go.
Hi, freaky friends. This is Colleen.
And this is Margaret.
And we're the Thecousinsweird. And we're terrible trending. Woo!
Yay, number 44.
I think.
And we're going live for one of Colleen's trends. Yay! It's been a while. It's been like 2 months.
Yeah.
Since
it's been a while because we've sick and things.
It's happened on Colleen's weeks.
Yeah. And I'm a complete disaster for this episode, so if I have to, you're going to see what truly behind the scenes is when I have to stop and can't read my handwriting. And I hand wrote it, because I didn't have time to.
She pulled a Margaret.
I pulled a Margaret. You're going to hear crinkle, crinkle, crinkle. Sorry, listeners. You think you're listening to Margaret's episode, but you're not. Have you been drinking? No, I have not been drinking, Richard.
We're just punch drunk.
I had some Fiber One bar. I don't know if that makes me drunk.
I gave her some Diet Birch beer, though, so.
I haven't had it yet, though. And it's not alcoholic, but.
It is beer, though.
It is. So, terrible trend.
Okay.
Female hysteria.
Ooh,
and the cures.
Oh, God. These are going to be fabulous.
These are going to be foul. No, I'm just kidding.
They're going to be foul.
So, female hysteria dates back to 2000 BC. Hippocrates. He was the first one actually to mention hysteria in literature. Okay. And Plato kind of went with this too. And we talked about one of the terrible trends a long time ago was the wandering womb.
Oh, yes.
And that kind of revolves around hysteria. Okay. There goes Margaret's phone.
Sorry.
Can't have an episode without the tweets.
We should be drinking.
Maybe we should be after this. You might want to be. So
you definitely should be.
You should go back to the Wandering Womb episode if you want to know more about the Wandering Womb, okay?
That's an early one.
And since then, physicians from 2000 BC to 1952, hysteria was diagnosed. And it's a woman's issue, okay?
Oh, yes, because only women can be hysterical.
Yeah. And hysteria isn't what
I'm hysterical.
We're hysterical. But we're hysterical in a different way.
It's hysteria! Sorry, my Def Leppard teenage heart couldn't help that.
In 1913, 75% of women suffered from what they called hysteria. That's a lot of women. So here are the symptoms. Headache, forgetfulness, irritability, insomnia, hot flash, excessive vaginal bleeding, heaviness of limbs, use of coarse language.
I definitely checked that one off.
I have all these. Severe cramping. Sometimes. Difficulty breathing.
No.
Desire for clitoral stimulation.
Isn't that everyone?
I know, right? Promiscuity. Mood swings. Nausea. Anxiety. Drowsiness. Loss of appetite.
No.
Sometimes, hunger.
Baby. Yes.
Aging. Just being alive. Back pain. Swollen feet. Cancer.
I'm laughing, and it's not funny.
No.
But, oh my God.
Organ failure. Endometriosis. Heart disease. Epilepsy. And then we go into depression, schizophrenia, and other psychological orders. Can't talk.
If any man had to have a period for 1 month, they'd run through hysteria too.
Yeah. So doctors just thought women were weak. We were weak. We didn't have a sex drive.
But that's how women needed to be. If it's to be the proper woman, you'd have to be weak and have to faint.
Society wanted to do that to
You'd
us.
have fainting counters so you could faint. I mean,
you're fainting because you couldn't breathe because of the corset you had on. So doctors in the
you were on fire and you couldn't breathe because your crinoline was on fire.
Yeah, your crinoline was fire. So doctors really thought that women didn't have a sex drive, and if they ever got any pleasure, it was just from penetration. So that's it. But typically it was just they're there for a man to enjoy himself, and women were not to enjoy themselves. So And that could cause you hysteria. Just saying. So the
anger.
Yeah. Irritability.
Yeah.
Just saying. Desire for clitoral stimulation. No children should be watching this or listening.
This is not for children.
So doctors in the late 1800s saw clitoral stimulation through pelvic massage as a way to treat hysteria.
Okay.
I don't know where this came from. I think there was some pervert that thought of it.
Oh,
but
also,
saying.
I'm sure there were some unsatisfied housewives who were like, oh, I'm hysterical, I better go to the doctor.
Well, yeah, but what made the doctor think this would cure it? I don't know. But it's basically where they put 2 fingers in, and they use the heel of the hand to stimulate.
It was some perv that did this.
Yeah. Hold on, I'm trying to read my handwriting, so it's going to take a second. Oh my god, what the hell am I writing here? That's just not words that make sense. So okay. So he does this manual stimulation on the woman, and when she becomes flushed and relieved during the massage, that was called hysterical paroxysm, which is an orgasm, but that's not what they called it, because they didn't think that's what it was. That meant the treatment for hysteria was successful. Women left happy. God. They were thrilled when they walked out the door.
Because they'd never experienced that before, probably.
And doctors said that, this is the best way to treat it. Husbands were sending their women to the doctor going, treat them for hysteria. They're miserable at home. I don't want to deal with them. You got to fix them. So they go have an orgasm with the doctor and get sent home, and they were thrilled for the rest of the day. Like, they're thrilled now. It must be a cure.
They needed to worship the god Fascinum, and they would have been happy.
Had some, yeah.
Yeah.
Doctors, though, in textbooks over time, were talking about it. They were saying how doing this to women caused a lot of cramping in the hand for them.
It's like,
let me just say, cramping. It was also...
Same Dr. Guy was like, I'm going to rub ladies, and this is why.
Yeah, exactly. So, at the time also, it was, frowned upon to masturbate. That was evil. You're corrupting your body. They even told women if they did this stuff at home, that they would get uterine cancer. They scared them. God. So you couldn't do that, or you were considered unclean. There was all these, things for it.
Stigma.
So... Doctors were like, my hand is sore and I'm trying to do this and it's taken some time. I have other patients to see. So they're like, what can we do to make this happen faster and save our hand cramps? Mm-hmm. First thing was hydrotherapy. So they would have spas set up. So basically a shower head that they would direct in that area. And they said they could achieve hysterical paroxysms. Mm-hmm. In under 4 minutes. So, woo, right? This works. Yeah. And then they even said they could probably attach them to your sink at home. So maybe you wouldn't have to go to the doctor. But the doctors didn't want that too much because money.
Right.
So...
It's a doozy one today.
It's a doozy. So, they decided, this is a messy one now. There's...
Because it's wet.
It's wet.
It's wet.
No pun intended. Well, yeah, lots of pun intended.
Yes.
But... there's water involved, there's whatever, and they're like, that's hard to deal with. Doctors started also, so in the 75% of women were hysterical, had
suffered
hysteria.
From it. Yep.
They correlated literacy rates increasing to increase in hysteria in women. They saw educated, intelligent women that wanted to work outside the home as being hysterical and bad behavior. God. So... let's just put that into context here. They hysterical, they have an independent mind and they can read. They might want to vote next. Oh my God. So it was a whole thing. Now, during the Industrial Revolution, there was a lot of different things that they were trying for they started to go to vibration instead of water. Okay.
Yep. I saw where this was going.
Yeah. So the first thing invented in the Industrial Revolution as a something to use was the sewing machine for the homes.
That's because it helps women.
The fifth thing invented was the vibrator. 9 years before the vacuum. Just saying. Just saying. Very interesting.
Oh, man.
So they were like, okay, this vibration, they actually would tell women to ride a horse. Because it would help. And then in 1869, George Taylor patented the first medical vibrator called the manipulator. It was huge. It was a table that had an opening in it where you sat on it with this, like, spherical thing that vibrated. And obviously, you had your little orgasm there. But it was huge.
Sewing machines up miniature.
It was huge, and it was run by coal.
Oh, God.
So, only big spas or, like, big doctors could afford it and do it. So, it was expensive.
You had to get it up running early.
There was also...
coal.
In France, they had to stoke the coals.
Stoke the coals.
To get it to work.
We got some hysterical ladies.
You got hysterical ladies coming in. We need to give them their hysterical paroxysm. So, in France, they discovered that people said that if you're riding on a train and a train that was on a track that wasn't kept well could give you benefits as if you're a hysterical woman. So they invented something called the jolting chair.
Oh, no.
Which was a rocking chair with a lever. And you pull the lever and it administer a pelvic pounding jolt. You're cured. You got pounded. So inappropriate. Margaret, why did you pick this?
Blame me. I picked on gladiator sweat, okay? I only talk about people eating gladiator sweat and sniffing it and wearing it. So, you know.
That's perfectly appropriate.
Perfect.
So, for 2,500 years, hysteria was treated. In the 1800s on, it was treated through pelvic massage. So, doctors were giving hand jobs to these ladies. Their hands got cramped. They needed it in and out. They had it, like, this is
too much work.
Right. So they couldn't do it at home. That's naughty. But if the doctor did it, it's medical.
Right.
By the 1920s, the vibrator was used. I mean, a pelvic pounding, yes. And then, so the vibrator, like, went from a table ran by coal, and then electricity came into play, and it turns into more of a phallic-looking device that could stimulate the clitoris. And it's still at this point, they didn't realize it was pleasurable to women. They didn't get that they were having an orgasm.
Right.
For one, they didn't think women, that was a thing they did.
Right.
They just didn't.
That's sad. That's so sad.
It is sad. And the idea of plugging something into the wall with electricity going to it scares me a little. I mean, women, the pioneers of the sexual revolution, that had something plugged into the wall while they had it in an orifice. You're the champions, I guess.
You really are.
So, they didn't see it as, like, sexual. And it 100% was. And women were like... And the one guy who invented the first one, the manipulator, was like, warning them, don't use it too much, because they're going to be begging for it. Basically, is what he said. So, all these women who are... Their husbands at this time don't think that they need an orgasm, or they ever will achieve one, were unsatisfied at home, and going to the doctor...
Right.
To get relief, and they come back home happy, and the husband's like, oh, it works. Perfect. So, by the 1920s, vibrator started being featured into pornography. So, it started to lose the medicalness of it.
Uh-huh.
And by the 60s, it was considered, like, sex therapists started saying to use it. It will help.
Right.
And then by the 70s, those pioneers, the feminists, like, it was, like, part of the sexual revolution, basically. So... Women can thank, or men can thank themselves for the women not needing them for an orgasm because they invented it. They invented the vibrator. So, that's the moral of the story. Then.
Yeah, I guess so.
But anyway, vibrators were invented to cure women's hysteria, not for orgasms, even though they were giving women orgasms, they didn't know women could have them.
Which is really funny.
So is it a terrible trend? No. The fact that men didn't know women had any sexual drive or desire, or weren't supposed to have it. That's the trend.
Now who don't understand women's anatomy down there.
That's true.
They think that the pee and the babies come from the same place.
The pee hole and the baby hole.
They're not the same thing.
It's not the same thing.
There's multiple holes.
There's more than one hole.
There's 3. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Just so you know, give them a little education.
So anyway, the terrible trend isn't the vibrator got invented. Cool. That's great. But the trend that's terrible is that men not knowing that women, how to give a woman an orgasm, that they had them, and how long women went without them. Because they didn't know.
I'm sure there were some men that knew.
There were some. But doctors didn't. But I think the doctor who invented the pelvic massage knew what he was doing.
I think he did. He was playing dumb.
He was like,
oh,
they don't get any pleasure from this, and neither do I. So that's a terrible trend for the week. If you want to see pictures of the manipulator and the early vibrators, then you should. I'll just keep going. You should follow us on Facebook and Instagram. I hope you didn't listen to this children around. We're not appropriate for children most times.
Go back in the beginning and say, forewarning. This is not for children.
I should have did a disclaimer in the beginning of this. Yeah, I'll add that in. But follow us on Facebook and Instagram, and our episodes get shared there. You can share on your socials. And you're both witches, he says. I don't know why he said that or what we said to make him say that.
I don't know. I'm not sure.
Maybe he said it because women can orgasm.
Yes.
Blasphemy. Anyway, so the best way to support our podcast is to share us on your socials and by word of mouth to your friends. Because if you like us, they will too.
Yeah. Especially if they like hearing about vibrators and hysteria. It's fun. Yeah.
What if they want to reach out?
Oh, yeah. You can send us an email at thecousinsweird@gmail.com. And you can reach out directly to us through Facebook Messenger, Instagram, through our Facebook page or Instagram page. We would love to hear from you. We want to hear your funny stories. If you have funny retail stories, because we have a bunch of Dollar Tree.
We've been talking about that.
They're pretty funny. And if you have any, send them to us. We need to know.
Yeah, we want to hear it.
To think about 2 holes.
Oh, that gotcha. Yeah. And what's your favorite vibrator? That could be what you send us. I don't know. Or what's your favorite weird medical trend that they used to do that we should cover?
We haven't, because we've covered quite a few. We're up to 44. We've covered 44.
Yeah, we've covered 44.
And there's probably a million more.
I'm sure there are. But if you have one you think we should cover that we haven't, let us know. And then if you want to support our podcast, go to patreon.com/thecousinsweird for $1 a month. You become a freaky friend. You get a free sticker and bonus episodes. For $5 a month, become a terrible trender. You get the same thing as a freaky friend, but you additionally get ad-free episodes, a yearly gift, and a monthly Skype with us and other Patreons.
And we'll all be talking about vibrators.
We're talking about vibrators.
Well, that's what you want to talk about.
If that's what you want to talk about. We'll talk about sweaty gladiators.
Yeah.
Whatever.
Who doesn't want to smell like a sweaty gladiator?
Or we can talk about the latest episode of Last of Us.
Because, yes. Anything. I'm willing to talk about Paper Pascal anytime.
Anytime.
Any format, anywhere. He's a treasure, and I just adore him.
He's precious. But
adore him. He's adorable.
Shower heads aren't just for the ladies.
I love you so much.
You're so funny, Anthony. Okay, man. Friends. I think that's it.
Stay freaky.
No pun intended.
Yes, as freaky as you want.
That's right. No shame in your game.
No shame. Nope.
Bye.
Bye.